This is the StoryTrust Media Podcast.
She was saying a lot of good things. She was just taking too long to say them. This is the StoryTrust Media Podcast. I'm John Gehring, founder of StoryTrust Media, podcast producer and content creator. We create content creation engines for your brand through the power of podcasting so that you never have to worry about your content game again. And today I want to cover one of the most challenging things for content creators, and that is saying a lot, but keeping things concise and keeping things value-packed. And being valuable in what you're saying, but not saying too much. There's one phrase that it all boils down to. We talk about this in content creation, and that is word economy. And that's right. It's exactly what it sounds like. How efficient with your words can you be? Now, this is a term that we learn about in broadcasting school. I went to Syracuse University, really proud of my time at Newhouse. And what we talked about so much was the power of word economy. And that is because on traditional broadcasting formats like TV or radio, the amount of words you say is actually really important because time represents money. Think about it. The Super Bowl was not too long ago, and the average 30-second commercial spot cost over $7 million. Time is money. Each word that you say in a traditional broadcasting format equates to a lot of money spent, whether it be advertising dollars for your brand to get your message out there, or maybe it's the lost cost of potential advertising dollars if you're a broadcaster. So on TV, if you're going to say something, it better be powerful. Because if it's not and it doesn't add value to your audience, you may as well use that time to earn more money from advertisers. That's the concept of word economy at its root. Is that it's so important for you to be efficient in what you say because time is money. Now, a lot of people say, John, that's great for TV and radio where it's monetized and every second matters and there's very strict time allotments for each thing. But what about the world of podcasting where there's no real time requirement, no maximum amount of time that you can go? There's a podcast called The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. It goes over 2 hours sometimes. There are other big podcasts in the world, very popular podcasts that go several hours. And so people who are just starting podcasting, that must be what makes them successful. It's not the content they create, it's the fact that they create so much content. So some of it has got to stick, right? There's no limits, so word economy doesn't apply. I warn you to think like that. Because when you think like that, you're, again, making the show all about yourself. We've talked about this in the past. And not making it about your audience. Remember, this whole world revolves around trust, right? That's the idea in relationships, in content, which really is a relationship of sorts. It's all about trust. And the trust signals that you're sending to your audience by creating a lot of content, but not necessarily minding your word economy and making sure that the content is created efficiently and value-packed, you're basically telling them that their time doesn't matter. Their time isn't valuable. If they stick around for an hour and get one good point, well, they better consider themselves lucky, right? Their time is best spent listening to you get around to the point eventually. Because the more content you create, the better, not necessarily. If you've listened to this in the past or you've connected with me, you've had a conversation with me, you know that one of the big things I'm about is quality over quantity. And that's so important here too. And I'm not saying quantity of content isn't important, but what people miss about the Lewis Howes podcasts of the world or some of those long multiple hour podcasts is that it's not the length that makes them successful. It's kind of like a chicken or an egg situation backwards, right? People think that because they're long, they must be good. No, they're long because they're good. They're long because they can say a lot in a short period of time. And because they can say so much in 1 to 2 minutes, therefore, audiences can't get enough of them and are willing to stick around for up to 2 hours. See, if your podcast is an hour long and you say almost nothing throughout that hour, how long do you think people will stick around? They're not going to stick around for the full hour. If you don't have a value-packed first few minutes, they're not going to stick around past the first few minutes. The reality is there's just too much content out there, too many options for people to consume. So what's the solution? You start small. You start short. How much value can you pack into 1 minute of good content? And if you can pack some value into that content, I'd rather have a great minute than a half-hour podcast that says the same thing that was said in that 1 minute. Don't stretch it out for the sake of stretching it out. This is a mistake I see podcasters make all the time. They see podcasts, they see lengths, and they go, okay, good podcast must be this long because this one is, and therefore I guess I should make mine this long. They're looking at it from the wrong perspective. They're seeing the wrong thing. They're seeing the indication of success and assuming that's the cause for success, the catalyst for success. It's not. It's more a result of the success, right? So the better you can do in 1 minute, the longer your podcast can be. So I really want you to think about that 1 minute. What value can you deliver in that 1 minute? In the shortest amount of time. And this goes for anything, right? It's not just podcasting. It's writing. I teach a college class as well on the side, and students all the time, foolproof question you'll get in any education sort of scenario. They'll ask, how long does it need to be? You're writing a paper. How long does it need to be? So if I say 5 pages, they'll stretch it to make sure they fill the 5 pages. I get it. I'm not criticizing them. I was the same way when I was in college. But what I've learned now after a decade of creating content is that it's not about how much you can stretch to fill those pages. It's how much you can say in how little of a time. And that's the concept of word economy, right? How much of an impact can that company have in that 30-second advertisement? How much of an impact can that radio host have while walking up the 10-second intro of a song? If you can be memorable in that 10 seconds, in that 30 seconds, that's the key to unlock content creation success. That's the key to 2-hour-long podcast episodes that people will religiously sit through for the whole thing. Not because it's 2 hours, but because there's value delivered every minute. So to the podcaster out there who's saying a lot, but not actually delivering a ton of value, the value that you're delivering is good. Compress the length of your podcast episode to the amount of value that's being delivered and start there. See, one very important metric in podcasting and any content is TSL, time spent listening. It's big in radio too. When they turn on your piece of content, how long do they stay through it? Do they stay through the whole thing? That's great. Nobody has 100%. That's ridiculous, right? Nobody has everybody stay through their entire episode or their entire radio show. That's not normal, and not even the best podcasts are anywhere near that. However, if you're consistently seeing people drop off in the first couple of minutes, this is why statistics are so important to take a look at this kind of thing. You probably have a word economy problem. So think. You don't want to script out your podcast episodes. But how can I say more with less? I want you to think about that today. And if you'd like to talk more, hit me up on LinkedIn, DM me here, whatever. I'm happy to chat with you a little bit more. And if you're getting value from this little bite-sized content that I'm delivering for you here on the StoryTrust Media Podcast, be sure to subscribe up on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe or follow up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're getting this. I appreciate you. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you for checking out the StoryTrust Media Podcast. Learn more and get in touch with John at StoryTrust.media.